Good evening, everyone. We'll be starting in just a few minutes. We're just trying to make sure all our participants are in. So we will be starting in just a few minutes. Again, everyone, we'll be starting in just a few more minutes. We're just waiting to make sure all the participants are in the meeting. Thank you. And I'm just going to give it one more minute to ensure that all the attendees are in, and then I will start. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. As you are probably noticing, we have changed our format for Zoom. We are in a situation because of the Zoom bombing that happened on Friday. We have disabled the majority of items people will be able to use. So at this point, you're not going to see anybody on your screen except for me. And if I let in someone, then they'll be on the screen as well. Also, the other thing is you will notice that there is no volume either. Everybody's been put on mute. And the only way in which you will be able to answer give us anything that you would like me to answer is in the Q&A box, which would be on the bottom of your screen. You may use that to put in questions. At the end of the meeting, I will have a person who's responsible for reading those questions to me, and I will do my best to answer them, but that's how we will work tonight. For those of you who were present at the last meeting, I apologize that we end up with that situation. It was very unfortunate, and we have worked really diligently to make sure we can host Zoom meetings in a safe and meaningful way for our families. As far as the people who actually participated in that Zoom bombing, please be aware that we will be working with the local police department to figure out who those individuals are to ensure this does not happen again. And so I just want to make sure people are aware of that. We as a community do not tolerate hate and inappropriate actions. We are a school department whose number one priority is to make sure children and families are safe, and we will not tolerate those actions. Okay, tonight, the purpose of our meeting is really to get everyone to understand why we are moving to remote learning for the next 2 days at the school department. If you are not aware, last week, the beginning of the week, the Department of Public Health did free testing for people in the town of Athol, where they could go up to the market basket plaza and get tested. As of this moment, they have found 69 cases of COVID from the people who were tested, or I shouldn't say from that testing, but we have identified 69 people in the town who currently have COVID or have been identified as having COVID within the last 4 days. This is concerning to us because if you look at the state's guidelines, once a town gets to 25 or so people, it really puts us into the red zone. And in the red zone, it really alerts the school department to be very cautious in their approach and the way in which they choose to open up their buildings. For us right now, DPH is still working on a lot of contact tracing as far as which students may have come in contact with someone with COVID. Right now, I want to make sure you understand we do not have school spread. In other words, what we are seeing is that people are being identified with COVID, but they are not identifying that they got it from the school. What we are seeing is a large number of people, obviously, during the Thanksgiving holiday, connected with others, and the spread began. Uh, the One of the major questions being asked is, how do we define a close contact? I want people to be clear and understand that the Department of Public Health has clear um, guidelines to follow as far as close contacts are concerned. They have to be people who, over a 24-hour period, were with someone for 15 minutes or longer, cumulative. So that means I could have been 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 5 minutes there, to be considered a close contact. Remember, a close contact does not mean that they have COVID. All it means is that they were a close contact to someone who had COVID. So you are not identified as a close contact if you were close to someone labeled as a close contact. You can only be identified as a person as a close contact if you were in those criteria of someone who had COVID, because several parents are asking, well, this kid was in that situation and he's considered a close contact, yet my child isn't. Please remember, we don't make these decisions at the school department. It is made by the Department of Public Health. We do not make the decisions. What they do is they interview the person who has contacted them to tell them they have COVID. And from that interview and the information that is given to them from that person is how they define close contact, along with talking directly to the school department and looking at class seating charts, and talking directly to any teachers who were in those spaces. And so I want to make sure that's clear. It is not our role to label close contacts. That is the role of the Department of Public Health. We do not label them. We may say to you, we believe your child is a close contact. We may make a recommendation that you keep your child at home, but the final say on who a close contact is comes from the Department of Public Health. It does not come from the school department. We are not scientists. We are not experts in this area. So we are not the individuals who would make that call. What we are concerned about right now is the Department of Public Health, both in our town and around the state, are overloaded due to the number of cases in the state of Massachusetts. So we want to make sure before opening our buildings that they have gotten a handle on exactly who has COVID in our community, and they've done their contact tracing. And we know as of this evening, they have not completed that because the system is becoming overwhelmed. Our Department of Public Health within Athol is doing a pretty good job, and they're feeling on top of it more so than some of the other agencies. But please remember, we have teachers, we have students who may have family members outside of the town of Athol, and therefore we're waiting for their other town's Department of Public Health to give us information to know if they are considered a close contact or not. So we're not just dealing with the Department of Health for Athol and Royalston. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that. So what is the decision we've made? The first decision we made is Monday, teachers will post work for students online. There will be no live streaming. Students will then be able to do their homework and submit it on their platform, whether it be Seesaw or Google Classroom. So students should go into Seesaw, go into Google Classroom and look for an assignment. Whatever is there for their classes is what they should do and turn in. All students will have 5 days to turn in those materials. On Tuesday, we will begin live streaming again. So that means we will not have students in the building. No buses will be out there to pick up your child. However, we will live stream all classes. So students will participate as if we were fully remote live streaming on Tuesday. Where do we go from there? We don't know yet because we're waiting to see what's going to happen with the Department of Public Health and their contact tracing. What I can say is from our last closure, we heard very clearly from some of our families that they need their kids to be in school so they can work. What we are attempting to do at this time is to figure out how we may be able to open some spaces within the elementary schools, the middle school and the high school to support students in one of two situations. One, families who have to have their kids in school so they can work. Two, students who have IEPs that are considered high risk so that they can get the supports they need. I am asking every parent who's listening tonight, if you can keep your child at home and do remote learning, that's what we would like you to do. We do understand, however, if you are in a situation where you can't do that, we are hoping by Tuesday night we will have an avenue or a place in which your child can go. But I'm asking very clearly that please don't take those services if you don't need them, because we are trying to keep the children safe and our teachers safe. And we are in a situation where if we open up, we are going to open up only servicing people who absolutely need their kids to be in school because they have to work, or kids who are really high risk for special needs. And so I want to make sure that's clear. We want to be able to balance between keeping the school safe and making sure families can work and not lose their jobs. But we need everyone in our community to understand this and have the willingness to say, hey, if I can find a way to keep my kid at home, I'm going to do that until we are sure that it's safe because of the number of COVID cases within the community. But we do understand where some people are at. I know you're at your breaking point. You need to be working in order to be able to support your family. And we're going to do everything we can to try to get some of those services up and running by Wednesday. I have a parent meeting scheduled for 6 p.m. on Tuesday night, so I will let you know what the plan is then. But between now and Tuesday, we will not have any in-person learning. The other thing is people are asking about food. We will be delivering lunches on both Monday and Tuesday. The buses tomorrow will leave at 10 o'clock from ACES. What you need to know is whatever time you normally got your lunch in the summertime, you should expect 1 hour from that time for your buses to arrive, because normally we would leave at 9. Tomorrow we are leaving at 10. The reason for that is obviously the cafeteria needs a little bit more time to prepare and be ready to deliver those meals, because they aren't in the mode of doing bag lunches for everyone. So we're trying to give them a little extra time to be ready. But our buses will leave ACES at 10, following the bus routes they did over the summer, with lunches for everyone to make sure our students are fed. And that will happen again on Tuesday. And then from there, we will make you aware of the next steps. So that's where we are at as a school department. At this point, I'm going to ask Dave to come on with me, and he will be reading the questions that people have put into the question and answer box, and I'll do my best to answer them. Go ahead, Dave.
Right. So our first question was, will you consider a hybrid learning model with both remote and in person?
Right now, we are not considering a hybrid model, and this is why. With the number of cases, whether we're hybrid or in person, it still makes kids susceptible. And that's why a hybrid model is not something I think we're going to look at. It makes kids still susceptible to COVID if we don't have it under control. So at this point in the red zone, it is more likely that we will stay in remote if we need to, with a ability to have some people who need their kids to be in school. But this will be a short period of time. We're not looking for the whole school year. I want people to know that at most it will be through Christmas to Christmas vacation. That will be it. We do not intend to have this be our new model. It's again just an opportunity to be safe while we know what the numbers are. And as soon as we get clarity on that, we want to go back to the in-person model that we've had.
All right, the next question is something we talk a lot about, and it's the significance of closing and the impact on families and needing to work. And you've already addressed it, but I didn't know if you wanted to reiterate that.
I will reiterate to families that we're doing everything we can as quickly as possible to make sure there is a space for your child. Please know and understand, because of the numbers of COVID, we want to make sure our schools are cleaned properly. That's why tomorrow we're not even opening up for teachers to come in the building until 3 o'clock in the afternoon to make sure it's been deep cleaned, so that if there is some lingering COVID in the building in some way, shape, or form, it has been cleaned deeply. And so that's the first step. And that's why we're doing this. And then Tuesday, we want to do it one more time to make sure we're in a situation where it's safe for people to come back in the building. I am not comfortable opening up the building unless we know that is the case. So even letting the teachers in at 3 tomorrow, we're going to clean again after that, because remember, all the contact tracing has not been done. So we want to make sure that we're continuing to clean even after they come in. And the only reason why teachers are coming in is if they need to get materials. Outside of that, we are not even letting anyone else into the building for that reason.
I think the next one you kind of answered with that. Didn't know if you wanted to second it again. So what's the reason for not having live streaming tomorrow?
The reason for not having live streaming tomorrow is some of our teachers may be in a situation where they don't have the capacity to do it from their home. And for that reason, and not being able to have the building open because it needs to be deep cleaned, that's why we're not having live streaming tomorrow. So we've asked teachers just to post the work for tomorrow, because we want to make sure we don't want them coming in the building either until it's safe. We don't want them susceptible to a problem. So we want to make sure the building has been deep cleaned before a teacher steps into the school. And like I said, some of our teachers do not have the ability to stream from home, from their own home. And so we want to make sure that we can do that on Tuesday once the building has been deep cleaned, so that teachers have that opportunity.
A question on the other side, why can't you just close the schools till we know they are safe?
That is what we're doing. The problem or dilemma is we have two things. First of all, DESE has asked us to make sure students who are on IEPs who need multiple services be able to get them. So for example, I might be able to support your child online if they're having a reading issue. However, if I need OT and PT, that has to be done in school. And so that's part of it. And then the other piece is we have some families who do not have a way for their kids to get care. And so we're trying to find that balance between the two. All parents at any point have the right to keep their kids at home in on remote learning. We designed it this way purposely so it becomes your choice and not ours. So at any point, you have the ability to do that anyway. But we need to be weary, or excuse me, Larry, to not put some of our families in a difficult situation. As you know, across the nation, unemployment is supposed to end at the end of the month. People are going to have to pay back rent starting at the end of the month. And the last thing we want to do is make our families feel even more vulnerable at this time. We want to be able to support those who really need the support from the school department for childcare if necessary. And so we're doing our best to try to balance that, but we want to make sure it's done in a safe way for not only students, but also our employees.
Do we need to notify the school if we're going to keep our children out until after vacation?
At this particular juncture, no, you do not. The only people that we are looking for right now to contact the school is if you think you need childcare during the day. We would like you to contact your principal via email. Please don't call, just so they don't get overloaded. Just so we're aware of how many might need that support, so we may be able to figure it out. That's all we need at this time. You do not need to notify the school. You will go on to remote learning. We will be able to take attendance for your child at this point to know that they are in and have logged in. So that will not be an issue. So the only people we're really asking to email their building principal if that's the situation. And if you're wondering what your building principal's email is, you can go onto our website, click on your school, and your principal's email will be there just so that they can have a sense of who might be in need of that child care support.
Question about the teachers. Will most of the teachers stay home and just teach from there unless they need to be at the school?
We are going to be working Tuesday morning with the teachers union to discuss how we are going to do that. I do not have the answer at this time.
What will the paras be doing tomorrow?
Paras at this particular juncture, you might want to check in with your teachers just to see if there's a need for any support for any particular student that you may want to contact and check in with. And if there are parent meetings and you were scheduled to be part of them, or an IEP meeting, you should be there for those.
Do you have any of the specific information about the majority of the people that tested positive for COVID in the recent town testing?
What I can tell you is that the Department of Public Health posts the information on their website, so I suggest you check there. I am not allowed to give out any names. This is people's private medical information, so I'm not allowed to give any names out. But what I can tell you, and my understanding is, so far, my understanding is the number is 69. That's what I can say.
How do we know which parents are essential workers, and when will we find out if our children, sorry, it jumped here, if our children have space to attend school?
Right. We are going to try to accommodate everyone who thinks that their kids need to be in school. That's why I'm asking you to email the principals and make them aware. We may send out a survey tomorrow so that we can get the exact names of the children as well. We already have a list when we were going to do the half-day Wednesdays, so we're already looking at that. So bear with us as we go through this. But we're not basing it on whether you're an essential worker or not. We're basing it on if you tell us you need to be at work in order to keep your job, then we want to try to find a space for your child. That's what we're basing it on. So that's what you need to say to us. I am in a situation where I need to go to work. If I don't, I could lose my job. I need my kids to have some childcare. That's what we need to hear. And we're asking families who are in a situation where you're not in that crisis and you can be home with your child, to please keep them home at this, once we open back up. But we are in a situation where that's what we need to hear, because we do not want to put any of our families in a precarious position, especially around the holiday time.
Some teachers are wondering if they will be able to work from the school if we go full remote starting Wednesday.
Teachers will be able to work from the school starting Tuesday. So anyone who needs to get in the building starting Tuesday, you will be able to get in the building and teach from there. Whether we're going to require all teachers to come in on Wednesday, we have not made that decision yet. We are going to talk to the ATA, and we need to have a sense of how many families are going to need support before we make that decision. But we will have an answer by Tuesday night for everyone.
If the decision is made to allow for in-person on Wednesday and a parent decides to keep their student home due to safety, do they have to go through the whole protocol again to come back into the building?
No, they will not. You will be able to keep your child at home, and after Christmas, you will be able to bring your child will get on the bus like they normally do and come to school. So you won't have to go through that protocol.
What is entailed in the deep cleaning, fogging, spraying, washing? Was the
Yes,
question.
the deep cleaning, just so you know, when we fog during the regular times, we fog the desks, any counters that kids have touched, And that's it. When we do deep cleaning, we fog from the ceiling down. And so it takes a lot longer because we are fogging from the ceiling down. In addition to that, they walk through the building, they will spray down all doorknobs, they will wipe those down, they will also, in addition to that, re-clean all bathrooms again. So it is a more extent, takes a lot more time to do to make sure that's the case. And in addition, it is my understanding that after 3 days, it becomes somewhat dormant, even if it was in the space. So we want to make sure that time has happened, and that's why that's what we're talking about when we talk about the deep cleaning.
There's a question about students and families without access to the internet. Would they be considered in that ability for them to come into the building?
Yes. And we will provide transportation as we normally do. So if you're in that situation, you should be letting your principal know.
Have there been any discussions on making the kindergarten age children only do a half day of continuous learning?
There has not been any discussion of that nature as of this moment. Doesn't mean we won't have that conversation, but right now, no, we have not had any of those conversations.
How many positive cases are there within the schools?
As I said to you, we know of no cases in the school right now. And let me explain what I mean by that. That means that someone has contacted us, told us they have COVID, and they are staying home. They are not coming into the building. When I talk about school spread, what I'm talking about is evidence that someone got sick, brought it into the building, and then gave it to somebody else. We don't have any of that. What I will say right now is what I know, and I want to make sure I'm careful on this. I believe it's 4 students and 3 staff members that we know who currently have been diagnosed with COVID. But again, our understanding is it happened outside of the school. But again, these new cases that have been identified in the town, the question is really whether any of those cases have close contact to kids within our building. That's what we're really worried about. But right now, those are the numbers as I understand it.
Looking for clarity on tomorrow's assignments for the students, asynchronous learning. Do they need to be up and on working on assignments at 7:30, or can they work at their own pace?
They can work at their own pace, and they have 5 days in which to submit the assignment in which the teacher gave them. So they have 5 days from tomorrow. So that means by Friday, they have to submit the assignment that the teacher gave them. We hope they will submit it tomorrow, but in case anybody has technical issues, they're having a difficult time putting online, that's why we're extending it till Friday, because we want to make sure if a kid doesn't have internet access, that they can get on afterwards and deal with it. And actually, I'm going to say next Monday just to be safe, because some people may need the weekend to make up this. So we're going to say until Monday of next week to submit their work.
Already answered it once, but I don't know when this question came in. But in regards, if a student needs childcare, will the district be providing busing for the student to get to the school?
We will.
Got it. Someone just came in late and they heard about the childcare option, and how do they go about getting that?
As I said, they should be emailing their principal so they're aware, because we're trying to figure out how many people really need it. So if you could just email your principal. The other thing that will probably happen is if you monitor your email tomorrow, I will be sending out a survey link to all families and asking if you are in need of daycare to please fill out the survey link so that we know who's in need of it. So that will probably go out within first thing in the morning, probably, or I'm going to say around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so that we have the information when we meet on Tuesday.
Already answered this, but this just came in, so maybe this participant didn't hear the answer. Will buses deliver food to bus stops tomorrow? And if we go remote, will the bus food delivery begin again like it was in the spring?
Yes, we will be delivering food tomorrow. The only difference is our leave time tomorrow from ACES will be 10. So whenever you got your food in the summer, add an hour to it, and that's when the bus should arrive to you, because usually we leave ACES at 9. Tomorrow we'll be leaving at 10, only because the CAF workers need a little bit more time to make sure they have those lunches ready. Tuesday, we will leave ACES at 9 as usual, and follow the same time we followed in the summer.
Question in regards to who will be watching the students that come in for the daycare. Would it be the teachers who are trying to also teach remotely?
As I said, we do not have that answer yet. That's what we're trying to figure out. And it all depends on the numbers. And that's what we're trying to figure out. We do not have that answer yet. As I said, the unfortunate part is with COVID, these are uncertain times. We have a lot of dilemmas we are trying to resolve. So I don't want to say yet because we don't know. And that's why the Monday and Tuesday we will be fully remote. So we have time to really analyze this, figure this out, and make sure that we can do it. That's why we're waiting until Tuesday night to let people know, because we just don't have a handle on this yet. We're trying to figure out how many people are and what that means exactly as far as what we're going to need for supports in the buildings.
Is there any discussion about making it mandatory for kids in grades pre-K to 1 to have to be required to wear masks?
We have put that forth. I have a policy subcommittee meeting this week, and hopefully there will be a vote on it at the school committee meeting on Wednesday.
A question about daycare, not needing it now before the holiday, but needing it after we come back from the holiday. Should they contact their principal about that need?
They do not need to contact their principal now in regards to that. I am hopeful that we will be open back to our regular model after Christmas. I can't guarantee it, but that is my hope. So at this time, you do not need to do that. If we need you to do that afterwards, we will get in contact with you. We will make sure you're aware so that you can let us know. But as of this moment, no.
Have you been in contact with DPH regarding children being required to take the COVID vaccine for school?
We have not. My understanding is the state is making those decisions. What I'm seeing and hearing at this particular juncture is that essential workers across the state will be vaccinated first. Just so you know, teachers and people who work in the building are considered essential workers. And I am hearing, and don't quote me on this, about end of January, beginning of February, they'll start with the essential workers who work in schools. And then after that, they'll make it available to the general public. But we do not have any answers on that yet. I wish I did, but I don't. I am going to let you know, however, that as soon as I know, I will let you know.
Is Y-ACES open tomorrow and Tuesday?
You will have to talk with YACES. Unfortunately, they will not be able to use our building. So we are going to have to contact them and make them aware of that. But at this time, YACES will not be working in our building. But I know in talking to YACES, they do have the ability to have spaces at the Y for those families who are normally part of the program to get support as they've done in the past. But I suggest contacting YACES.
Two-part question. If the cases that are that bad in town, should the schools consider going full remote for the rest of the year?
Yes, we are considering that. The only thing stopping us, again, I want to say, is for those families who need childcare. And that's why I'm emphasizing again and again and again, most likely if we do open, the only people we're going to open for are those who absolutely have to have childcare between now and Christmas. And so I want to make sure that's clear to everyone. And it's just out of safety. We want to make sure we're safe, but we also don't want a family going into crisis and losing their job. And so we're really trying our best to balance this.
There's a question about snow days and the district's policy on what's going to happen with the snow days.
Yes, where we are at is I put out the memo that of what we will potentially do. That has to be voted on by the school committee on Wednesday night. And if they approve it, we will go with that. If not, I will call school and there'll be no school on those snow days. What's important, and people are probably wondering, why did you make this decision, Darcy? I want you to know and understand our teachers are under a huge amount of stress this year in the way in which we've had to teach. They have been loaded down. And my worry or concern as we get close to the end of the year, they're going to be exhausted. And so, if we were to teach on the days of snow days, first of all, it would allow everyone by the second week of June to be out of school and not extend to the end of June. Um, the other piece of it is we have MCAS testing. Believe it or not, the state still has it. And my worry and concern at this point is if we are out during snow days, the kids already started school with 10 less days this year. I'm worried and concerned they're not going to have the full support to go into MCAS testing. And so that's my rationale. At the end of the day, it is the decision of the school committee as to whether we go down that road or not. They will be discussing it on Wednesday night and making the decision.
Will the flu shot clinic still be available on Wednesday at the school? Thursday, sorry.
Yes, it will still be available. I plan on being there to make sure they can get into the building and have that. So even if we are still remote learning, if families need to get that, they should plan on being there. Please know and understand, this is something the state is saying is required for students to have the shot. I would say to you, with COVID, the last thing you want is your kid getting a double whammy. So if you can come and get the vaccine, it would be greatly appreciated. We're opening this just for our families to have that opportunity. I will tell you, I took my shot. My daughter had to go get hers for basketball. I had to get mine. I didn't even fail it. Um, but I hope that people will take that in consideration. And I plan on making sure the building's open so people can get that and having CBS there.
There's some teachers on here that are wondering about the plan for tomorrow afternoon's common planning time.
Yes, we will hold common planning time as we have paid some vendors to be in. We need to have it. So it will be available. What we will do is based on some conversations I just had a few minutes ago, we will open the building at 2 rather than 3. So if you need to get materials, you can grab them and get on time for your common planning time meeting.
So I'm looking for some clarity on and understanding a little bit more about people being classified as close contact. How can one student be classified as close contact and the sibling who's also in that household be allowed to come to school?
The reason why is, remember this, if I am a close contact to a student in school, that means that person has come in contact with somebody at COVID. It doesn't mean it's in their household. And it doesn't mean they have COVID. We have had people this year who have been labeled as close contact, and we've only had one case, and we're not even sure that case ended up with COVID when identified as a close contact. So please know and understand, you can't be a close contact of a close contact. If someone in a house has COVID, then everybody in that house is going to be labeled as a close contact. That's guaranteed. And so if your child is getting labeled as a close contact, it was because they were sitting next to someone who got COVID and were just doing precautions to say to you, hey, we suggest you keep your kid home and quarantined until 14 days till they come up and make sure we do not end up with a problem. But as of this moment, we have had no, and I want to make sure you hear this, no student who has been identified as a close contact in school, not living in their home, come down with COVID this year.
Question about verifying in regards to the daycare. Is it going to be required that a parent has to provide a letter from the employer saying they need daycare?
No, we want to trust you, and we want to know if you need it, you need it. So we're not providing. We just need to send an email to your principal, make sure you fill out the survey. That's it. We have to trust your judgment, and I'm going to say to our families who have the capability to have their children stay at home, keep them at home, so that we can provide the supports for those families who really need it.
So there's a question a few minutes back that I asked about whether the district was going to consider going remote for the remainder of the school year. I
Right.
think you answered it for the remainder of the year. So there's a little concern out there that the district may be planning to go remote for the remainder of the whole school year.
No, we are not making that plan at all. Not at all. Where we are at is I will be honest with you, think we've done really, really well navigating the waters of when the numbers go up in the town, how we deal with it and close down. And we will continue working from that model. I personally believe kids need to be in school to truly learn. Our team is very concerned that we may have kids who are not getting supported with their learning, and we want to be open. But right now, in a safety zone of red, we just want to be really careful. So our goal, again, is to keep to remote learning, with the exception of families who absolutely need some form of childcare or kids who are at risk, special ed needs students to come in, or those kids who do not have internet service at home from now until Christmas. And then after Christmas, everybody's home, they can relax and then roll the buses as if we were regularly back the way we've been for in-person learning when we get back from Christmas vacation. That is currently our goal.
Over the time that we're in remote for the rest, whatever that may be, if a child has an appointment, do they need to call the school to let them know they will not be on remote for that day?
Per usual, remember this: if your kid is out for a doctor's appointment or something, you want to submit a note. So you could just scan that note to the school nurse at your building, so they're aware. And just know and understand, it's always good to let the school know, because you don't want to get inundated with phone calls, because we will still be taking attendance even remote, and we don't want you in a situation where you're getting 100 phone calls saying, "Hey, where's your child?" when you had a planned absence. So I do believe it would be important to contact the school and make them aware of it.
Clarification for staff looking to come into the building tomorrow to get materials. What time will it be open?
We're moving it to 2 o'clock to 4, so that those people who need to get in quickly to get their stuff before common planning time will be able to do that. The reason why we're having common planning time tomorrow is we have some vendors coming in, and we cannot cancel it at this time. So we need to have those meetings. And so that's why we're doing that. Any other questions, Dave?
We got nothing new right now.
Okay. So I will say to everyone, please, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to email me, email your principals. We're happy to answer them. No, our first priority for the school department is safety and ensuring families have the supports they need for their children. And so we will continue to balance this. Please know this is uncertain times. We're all doing our best. I want to give great appreciation to the administrators in the district and the ATA. They have been on the phone with me all weekend as we've gone through the process of navigating this to figure out solutions that will work for everyone. We will continue to do that to make sure that our families are taken care of and our students are taken care of. So we appreciate you being here this evening. Whoops, Dave has another question.
Two came in.
Okay.
Staff members looking for clarity with the entering the building time being from 2 to 4, and that typically being CPT time.
Yes. So if they need to come in, they can take their CPT right in the building if they need to. That's why we're saying 2 to 4. What I would say to our staff members is, we did let people know on Friday, take your stuff home. So I don't think there's that many people in that situation. If that doesn't work for you, then I suggest you contact your principal, make them aware, and then they can check to see if your room has been deep cleaned so that you can get in a little earlier. That would be my suggestion, because then they can call and talk to the head custodian in the building to see if your room is ready and you can get in earlier. That would be my suggestion.
All right, and the last one, when it comes time, will we need to submit paper verifying that our child has the vaccine? So I would assume flu or anything else.
Yes, at some point you are going to have to submit that. It is the school committee's decision as far as what we do if a child is not vaccinated. We will be talking about that at the school committee meeting this Wednesday night. So be aware of that. But ultimately, yes, you need to submit something stating that your child has gotten the vaccine.
All right, it looks like the last one, because you can wrap it up. What happens after Tuesday? But I think you have a parent meeting on Tuesday. So you'll notify everyone.
Yes, Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, we will have another parent meeting to notify people. If I know the answer earlier, I will send it out via email to everyone and do an all call, because we want to get the information to you as quickly as we possibly can. But I will have the meeting at night just in case people need questions. So I'm hoping I'll get the information to you as far as our next steps a lot earlier than that 6 p.m. meeting. But at that 6 p.m. meeting, I will answer any questions people may have in regards to the decision that's been made. Please know our goal is to try to get the buildings open to support those people who need childcare and high-risk special needs kids and kids who do not have internet service at home. That is our goal. Okay. Anything else, Dave?
If a student is full remote, do they still need the flu shot?
If a student is full remote, do they need the flu shot? If you intend to ever have them come into the building, yes, they do.
And with the impending storm on Wednesday, is the school committee still intending on holding their meeting?
At this time, I have no notification that we will not be holding the meeting. They will probably make that decision earlier Wednesday, and we will let you know. My understanding is the storm is not coming in, I think, until midnight or after is what I am reading. So I would assume we're going to have the meeting, but we will contact people and make them aware if that should change.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, everyone, please have a nice evening and be safe. And I'll hopefully be talking to you again on Tuesday night. Thank you. Lauren, can you just let me know once you close out that other room?
So I can end the meeting for everybody, and that's participants and panelists included. So as soon as I hit end, everybody's going to get kicked out.
All right, so we'll wait because I want to talk just for 2 minutes. We've got the attendees. So once all the attendees are at 0, we'll chat. If you're still in the meeting, we'd appreciate it if you would end. Again, if you are still in the meeting, we would appreciate it if you would end.
I can also start removing people who are still.
Yeah, that
here.
would be great.
Right. That looks like that's everybody.
Okay. So my only question really was, did we see any inappropriate stuff come into the Q&A?